Let me tell you something right out of the gate. If you ever think buying 10 acres out in the Arizona desert will guarantee you peace, think again. The kind of peace I found out there was the battle lines drawn in sand sort of peace. You want silence and sovereignty? Sure. You'd better be ready for a war nobody warns you about. That's what happened to me. And you, sitting there listening, I'll bet you never thought a little HOA could start a full-blown land war, either. Well, buckle up. I'd spent 17 years as a structural engineer for the Department of Defense, yeah. The big stuff, not strip mall renovations. After all that, I bought myself 10 fenced acres down in the sun-baked, wind-scorched edge of southern Pinal County. I wanted wide-open, quiet land that belonged to me, not some committee with clipboards. No neighbors close enough to eavesdrop. No pastel stucco houses on either side, and definitely no newsletters reminding me to paint my mailbox or hide my trash can. Just dry air, cactus, gravel, and sky. It was my version of heaven. The place butted up against a newer development they call Whitetail Heights. They kept crawling outward with their fake grass and community progress signs, but my lot was grandfathered out, triple-checked the deed, had the original survey, ironclad paperwork saying I was exempt from all that HOA nonsense. I even had a letter from the developer himself. For the first 6 months, I built my home, worked on prototype solar racks, ran some drone inspections, minding my business. Then came a Thursday morning, bright sun, not a cloud in the sky. Buzz at the front gate. Not Amazon, not a friend. It's a white Lexus, polished to a mirror shine. And inside is a woman who looks like she's about to give a TED Talk. Mid-50s, blazer that costs more than my water pump, eyes sharp as barbed wire. She smiles one of those legal smiles, the kind you see on court day. "Mr. Coulter," she says, like I'm already guilty of something. I step up, boots on gravel, hands on hips. "Can I help you?" She introduces herself as Karen Howley, president of the Whitetail Heights HOA. I just about laughed. She offers her hand, but doesn't really want a handshake, just the upper hand. She says, "We like to keep a good relationship with our extended neighbors." Extended, I say, looking her dead in the eye. "I'm not part of your HOA." She keeps that smile stuck on like superglue. "Yes, that's what the paperwork says. But community doesn't stop at a property line." She pulls out this folder official full of forms. Starts talking about emergency access authorization and asks for 3 gate keys, just in case, for the HOA security office, clubhouse, and the fire liaison. Now, let me ask you, would you hand your house keys to a stranger who just shows up at the clipboard? I told her flat out, no, I don't understand, and I'm not giving you any keys. Her face flickered like she wasn't used to no for an answer. She tried the safety card. I shot her down. "Your development was built next to me, not the other way around. I don't owe you anything." She pressed a little more, but I stood my ground. "You're not entitled to keys. My land is not under your jurisdiction. You don't get to dictate terms." She tried to make me feel guilty about not caring for my neighbors. When I wouldn't budge, she finally gave up, lips pinched. "I hope you don't come to regret being difficult." Watch her drive off, tires whispering over the blacktop like a threat. I added more chains to my gate, and another "no trespassing" sign called hurt. But I knew in my gut that wasn't the end. 2 days later, a cream-colored envelope with a shiny HOA logo lands in my mailbox. The letter inside? "Welcome as a community integrated property owner," with some nonsense about voluntary integration based on recent interactions. Demanded those gate keys again, threatened administrative procedures if I didn't comply. No real legal citations, just bureaucratic intimidation. I called my attorney, Morgan Lane, out in Phoenix, good, quick on the draw. She laughed when I read her the letter. "That's not legally binding, Graham. It's meant to scare you. File a written response. Certified mail. Reject everything." I did just that. Dropped it off first thing Monday. You'd think that'd be it. Of course not. Thursday, another envelope. This one stamped urgent. Inside, an acknowledgement of HOA integration, supposedly signed by me, dated months before I even met Karen. Fake notary stamp. I checked the license number expired over a year ago. That's when I stopped feeling annoyed and started feeling like a man under siege. Hauled the letter and everything else down to the county recorder's office. The clerk, Angela, looked it all over, checked my parcel in the system. Your property's not annexed. Not under their control. She took a copy, gave me a letter verifying it for my files. If they file this anywhere else, we'll notify you. And you might want to call the sheriff. I sent everything to Morgan, who started preparing a cease and desist. She said, they're forging documents. That's criminal. Now it was personal. I knew they'd escalate. Call it paranoia. Call it experience. I spent that night double-checking every camera, every lock, every light on my property. Slept with one ear open. Next morning, before dawn, I walked the property. My southern gate double-locked, heavy chain, you could tow a truck with it was swinging half open. Chain and padlocks cut, upper hinge broken, a cheap plastic sign staked in the dirt. Future HOA Park Whitetail Heights Community Nature Access. Survey flags strung across my property line like confetti after a parade. And a snap key fragment left in my lock. I took photos of everything, called the sheriff. The dispatcher just sighed, said, "You're not the first." Deputy Rollins came out, big quiet guy. He looked at the lock, the sign, the tire tracks. That's forced entry. You want to file a report? You bet I did. That afternoon, more signs went up on my fenced private property. No trespassing. No HOA access. Violators will be prosecuted. Morgan said, document everything. Don't confront them unless you have to. And wouldn't you know it, one nights later, my camera has caught two shadowy figures in hoodies by the back gate. Motion lights snapped on, they ran. I downloaded the footage, filed it with the sheriff, sent copies to Morgan. Then the community campaign started. Flyers taped to my gate, mailbox, even zip-tied to my solar panel mounts. Community alert. Illegal private takeover of designated green space. Photos of my house, arrows pointing out unauthorized structures, big red letters calling me a land grabber. Even a call for a neighborhood accountability rally. They spelled my name wrong. Twice. Morgan called it targeted defamation. She filed another cease and desist. The sheriff offered to post a deputy at the rally. I said yes. That Sunday, a crowd gathered outside my fence. About 40 people, waving signs return the park, and no more gates. Karen showed up in her Lexus, stood on a milk crate, and blasted the crowd with her bullhorn. She claimed documentation proved my land was for community access, that I'd signed preliminary agreements. Lies. She was waving forged documents. Sergeant Cruz, the deputy on scene, leaned over. Want to make a statement? I shook my head. Let her keep digging. Sure enough, two teens hopped my fence after the rally to plant a sign, Future Swing Set Zone. My motion lights got them. Cruz escorted them off. But now the HOA had gone full scorched earth. Community board Facebook page labeled me a radical outsider. Posted blurry photos of my security container blockade set by property holder who refuses to cooperate. Karen couldn't win in court, so she tried to drown me in gossip and guilt. Then the real bomb landed a lawsuit. Certified letter from the HOA's attorney. Petition to reclaim public easement land. Unlawful private occupation. Demolition of non-conforming structures. They attached more forgeries, a transfer agreement I'd never signed, support statements from neighbors who thought they were just signing up for more walking trails. Morgan said, time to counter sue for harassment, fraud, attempted seizure of property. We built a wall of evidence. Original deed, developer's statement, notarized documents, security footage, even a handwriting expert who confirmed the integration agreement was traced. We subpoenaed HOA records, found nothing but blank spaces and lost files. Meanwhile, Morgan uncovered internal emails where Karen literally said, soft force that guy on the south plot into compliance. Fake signage. Make him surrender. We brought all that to court. Angela, the former HOA assistant, testified under subpoena, confirmed Karen had ordered fake documents and pressured the board. The judge wasn't amused. When Karen's lawyer handed over the original agreement, the name on the signature was Gregory Coulter, a former HOA board member who died last year. It was a joke. Judge Hawthorne ruled hard. My land was never part of Whitetail Heights. Every claim, every sign, every integration notice void. HOA guilty of trespass, harassment, forgery. The county dissolved the Whitetail Heights HOA pending investigation. Karen was arrested for real estate fraud, forgery, criminal trespass. Sentenced to 12 years, no parole. Her mug shot was on the local news. Suddenly, neighbors who once glared through the fence now waved and apologized. The HOA signs came down, gates unlocked, and folks started to realize how close they'd come to losing their own rights. Me, I built a taller steel gate, had a sign laser cut, private land no HOA ever. Every veteran I'd built for on my property got their own key, just one key. No one ever asked for another. Funny how karma works. That park the HOA tried to steal became a solar-powered housing site for veterans. State-funded, county-approved. The same patch of sand they wanted for a nature zone is now a working research site, a place where 6 guys who used to sleep in their trucks now have a roof, lights, and a lock that's theirs alone. So what did I learn? You stand up, you better be ready to stand all the way. Some folks with power, with titles and letterheads feel, try to paper you into submission. But land is land. Truth is truth. If you don't guard your fence, someone will move it when you're not looking. Now, before you go, let me ask, where's the line? When does community become control? Ever had someone try to write you out of your own life with a pen and a fake smile? I want to hear it. Drop your story. What would you have done? Where's your fence?
Cảm ơn tất cả các bạn đã xem video.